Hi guys! Today I'm talking about the actual decision-making process that we need to go through to actually be authentic. There's a legitimate process when we consider starting to be more vulnerable so that we could be more authentic. There's a legitimate process that's going on, and our mind doesn't always want us to see it. And I was watching the movie Hitch just this last week, and it reminded me, this one scene just totally reminded me of what happens sometimes when we go to the brain and we say, I want to be more authentic, and the brain shuts it down. So do you remember that one time that Allegra Cole was in her meeting with her advisors, her financial advisors, and she said, so I had this idea. I want to invest in this fashion industry with my friend. And they said, let's not. And how about we come up with some other options for you next time you come? And she kind of just went, okay. Because it was easier, right? And because they know better, right? So when we are doing this, when we go to the brain and say, hey, I would like to be more vulnerable and I'd like to be more authentic, and the brain's like, no, let's come up with some safer options for you because that's a horrible idea. And the reason is because the brain's like, danger, man. Like, this could put us in so much emotional danger. We could get rejected. We could get judged. We could get shamed if people actually know who we are. And so I just want to lay it out. Sometimes we actively can make a decision to not be authentic and not be vulnerable. And that's totally fine. But the difference comes when we're actually making the decision consciously and intentionally. And we can't do that without all of the information. So do you mind if I share with you the actual decisions that we're making when we're trying to decide whether or not to be vulnerable? Because this is what it comes down to. We have a couple choices. We could choose to be vulnerable and authentic, or we could choose to be safe. And what those entail are some costs and some benefits that are really important to look at. So when we're choosing to not be authentic, let's say that we have a decision to make. Someone asks us what we think, or someone asks us what we feel, and we genuinely have an opinion that we're keeping to ourselves so that someone doesn't judge us or someone doesn't get mad at us or shame us or whatever. So this is when we're making our decision. And the decision is between being comfortable and safe and having control versus losing all of that control and being authentic. So when we're choosing to be safe and comfortable, when we're choosing to keep our thoughts and feelings to ourselves, we're choosing to paint a picture for someone else. We're controlling what information they have about us, and we're painting a picture, and in a way we're having to be fake and put up a facade that we think they're going to like. That's why it's not authentic yet. Because it's genuinely not us. It's a picture that we're giving them so that we can control what they see and what they know. And that way we have a little bit of management over the judgment, over the shame that could come. But the thing is, it's comfortable and it's safer than the alternative. The cost of this is that we don't get to be genuine. We often have that feeling that if someone actually knew who I was, they probably wouldn't like me. It causes some anxiety. It's exhausting to be able to hold up an image that we're painting for someone else if it's not authentic. It takes energy. We've got to be able to stay in control of that. We've got to, like, if we get tired, we feel like we can't hold up the facade, we kind of tend to isolate and protect ourselves from having to do that and protect others from the real us, right? And that's the cost of it. All right, the other side, being vulnerable, means that we have to let go of control of what other people think about us. We have to actually let them manage their own thoughts and feelings about the real us. And what that means is that we get to put the true selves out there, our true selves. We don't have to hide anything. We don't need to pretend. We don't have to manage. We get to let that part go, and it's actually freeing when you get to do it. We get to know that the people who are in our lives are there because they genuinely like the genuine us. That's us. The cost is we have to allow people the freedom to love us or leave us. That's hard, especially if we're afraid of rejection, because we're used to managing that on some level by not giving them the option of seeing the real us and the real option of leaving the real us. All right, so those are the costs and benefits of the actual choices. Being vulnerable is going to be super uncomfortable. It's going to feel super unsafe, but it's also going to feel very, very freeing once you can genuinely stick yourself out there and be okay if someone chooses to love you or leave you. There are some hidden skills that you really need to be aware of. If you're going to be a genuinely authentic person, there are some skills that you really, really need to have a heads up about. So once you let yourself out there, be genuinely authentic, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel scary because the brain is going to be trying to give you every signal that this is dangerous. Don't do it. It's going to be saying, don't do it. Don't you tell them what you're really thinking, because then they might leave us. All right? And so you can expect it. So you need to learn how to be very comfortable with uncomfortable. You got to be able to feel the feels and be okay. All right? You need to be able to manage your thoughts about the feels. You need to be able to not make it mean something about you and allow it to mean something about the other person. If the other person doesn't like the real you, it says more about their ability to love you, to love unconditionally, to tolerate things, to accept things. And that's okay. That's totally okay. We have that freedom to choose what we expose ourselves to, what we don't. But if we truly want to give them full reins of their own thoughts and feelings, we need to have that mind management, the management about our thoughts. We need to be able to say, this doesn't mean that I'm a horrible, unacceptable, unlovable person. Okay? We also need to be aware when our brain is saying danger, 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 we need to be able to override that system and say, you know what? Nothing's gone wrong. This is okay, and I've got me. You need to be able to have the mind management, the identity to know that you're okay with who you are. You've got to have your own back. Those are 3 huge skills. You need to be able to manage your thoughts. You need to be able to manage uncomfortable feelings, and you need to be able to be there for yourself and love you no matter what, so that you can be genuine with yourself. The benefits are that you get to be around people who you know genuinely love you. The people that are there because they like you. You also get the freedom of not having to paint a picture. You don't have to be the control freak anymore. You don't have to try to manage other people's thoughts, other people's feelings, and other people's actions, trying to prevent them from rejecting you, or think bad things about you, or feel bad things about you, or be upset. And with that comes a confidence. Like when you figure out how to do it in your life, to be able to manage your thoughts and feelings, you develop a confidence in the ability of other people to do the same. And you can get more comfortable with allowing them to control their own stuff and not feel like you gotta handle that for them. It's an amazing thing. The other thing I really like about that show, Hitch, is that Hitch is a coach. If you want to develop some of these skills, find someone in your life who's done it, who's genuinely authentic. Ask them how they can help you. Or get a life coach, someone who can help you work through those skills, those basic skills that you really need, but will do so much good in your life. It feels so good. It's so great to be able to be genuine. And I just feel like I've got to have a shout out here for the amazing people in my life who love me no matter what, who can laugh at my mistakes, who can accept my craziness and be there for me, and I love you so much. Thank you for being in my life. And I hope you guys get to experience the freedom of genuine authenticity. And if you don't, at least you're making a conscious decision. And that's okay. It's okay. Whatever you choose, it's okay. Just as long as you're making the decision intentionally. All right, good luck with it. You've got this.